You know, you know why I am here. Wrestling Week in Review. We had a lot of great stuff happen this week, and I don't have too much time. I would like to get this done within at least an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes tops. So let's get on. Let's start off the show, the live stream, with obviously the very first show that we always see during the week. And that is Monday Night Raw. Now, the show opens up with Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio driving into the arena, into the backstage arena area in a lowrider nonetheless. Dominic Mysterio has adopted a lot of the traits, recently has adopted many of the traits of his supposed father, Eddie Guerrero, or at least the guy that he constantly wishes was his real father, Eddie Guerrero. Obviously, he's drawn out his hair long. He's let his hair grow out. He's grown a beard, a mustache that would almost be identical to Eddie Guerrero's. He uses the three amigos, three suplexes with the twisting of the hips, which is what Eddie Guerrero did to make, I guess, those suplexes unique to him. And he also uses the 619 of his dad that his dad used. So Dominic Mysterio is definitely coming to his own as a heel over the last, let's say, 2 years. Basically, it's been 2 years now since he turned heel, not since Clash at the Castle 2022. And since then, he's gotten so much better. But yeah, this show, Monday Night Raw this week, opened up with Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio coming in to the arena via the loading dock area. All of a sudden, as soon as they start coming into the arena, all of a sudden, Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman are seen just go right past them into a table that's set up in the loading dock area. They go through that. They go through the table. They're, I guess, still brawling, even after the last couple of weeks of them going at each other. So this feud's not over yet. They get into the ring. They start off the show. Rhea Ripley eventually interrupts proceedings and has a bit of an announcement for Dirty Dominic Mysterio. During their match at Bad Blood, we are getting a women's world championship match between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, and apparently, as was made official by Rhea Ripley in the opening segment of Monday Night Raw, Dominic Mysterio will not be able to get involved in this match. The reason for that is because Dominic Mysterio will be, as Rhea put it, where he belongs, behind bars, as he is suspended high above the ring in a shark cage. This is almost perfect. It's perfect for Dominic's character. He does not like to spend any time behind bars. He basically spent time in jail, somewhat in a kayfabe way. And you can even though he didn't actually say it to the point where we could hear him say it, we could see him mouthing the words as Rhea Ripley is telling us this, making this huge announcement. I can't go back there. Like he does not want to be behind bars again, but he is going to be. Now, I know that there are some people out there who are like, okay, does that mean Rhea Ripley wins the women's title against Liv Morgan? Now, I thought that the only reason why they gave the title to Liv Morgan was because Rhea was not there, and that as soon as Rhea came back, they were gonna boom, they were gonna just put the title right on her. Going into SummerSlam, I kind of figured Liv had to win at least once, had to win at least that match just to sort of secure her reign. But then she lost. But then she won the match via the way she did, which I figured it was going to happen some way, shape, or form. There was going to be some type of finish where Dominic sort of goofs up, costing her the match, and then he basically reveals that, oh, wait, I've been with Liv the whole time. All this time that I was with you, ever since you came back, I've been plotting against you, and it's been great. But even though originally I thought that's what they were doing, they were just, when they came back, they were just going to put the title right back on her, because she was never going to lose the title anyways. The only reason why she had to drop the title in the first place was because she got injured by Liv Morgan accidentally, but it was an injury. She was forced to retire. She was forced to vacate the title, which she was never going to lose in the beginning to begin with. Obviously, they were going to run this match no matter what anyways. They were leading to this match anyways. It was bound to happen regardless of whether or not she was injured or not. But now I feel like they're actually going to give Liv an actual run with the title that lasts more than a couple of pay-per-views. Because what this stipulation of Dominic being suspended in a shark cage, what this does is this creates the opportunity for somebody else to get involved in this match. Someone like maybe Liv's tag team partner, Raquel Rodriguez, who is rumored to be ready for a return in the near future. Now, obviously, this would make perfect sense. Liv Morgan was women's tag team champions, was 2 times women's tag team champion with Raquel. Raquel went after Rhea in 2023, late 2023, going into Payback, and then because of what Rhea did to Liv, obviously there's probably still some resentment there over what Rhea did to Liv, so it would make perfect sense. And then also, if you think about it, the last time Dominic Mysterio was barred from ringside or was not able to get involved in a women's world title match, the match included Rhea Ripley and Raquel, and that match featured the return of Nia Jax. So this stipulation with Dominic being held up over the shark cage, it basically just means that we're going to get another finish similar to that match that involved Raquel and Rhea, with Raquel returning, taking out Rhea, which allows Liv to retain. Obviously, I'm sure, because up until this point, Rhea has basically manhandled, or in this case, woman-handled Liv every time she's been able to get her hands on her. And so obviously, Liv needs some quote-unquote muscle, kind of like what Mercedes Moné and Camille are doing in AEW. Because Camille is basically Mercedes Moné's muscle, basically recreating the Diesel Shawn Michaels gimmick of sorts, partnership of sorts. But yeah, that's how I see that going. That's how I see that match going, because Bad Blood is only a week from today. Today, it's officially a week until Bad Blood happens. As far as who I think wins that match, my prediction is Rhea Ripley is Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan retains. That's my prediction. It is what it is. Okay. Great. American, we got after this segment, we went backstage to the New Day. Now, they have been teasing a heel turn by Xavier Woods for a pretty decent amount of time now, and I do feel like even though they released Odyssey Jones, they still seem to be committed to doing this heel turn, which I am okay with. I'm okay with doing this. Now, I don't know if any of you guys that are watching can type in the live chat, but if you can, just try to make sure. And also, if there's anybody that's here watching, if you want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. It is never required at all, but I always appreciate the likes. So we get a New Day segment backstage. Xavier Woods last week was irate following their tag team title match against the Judgment Day, which they lost due to interference, coincidentally, by the Judgment Day and even the LWO, who were there to provide backup, although Xavier Woods did not know about this because Kofi Kingston did not tell him in advance. Xavier Woods wanted to win the match on his own, wanted no help from Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. They were like, okay, Xavier, we can respect that, so we'll stay away. But Kofi Kingston did not get the gist and had already brokered a deal with the LWO to prevent any Judgment Day interference, which didn't really help much, and it cost them the win. Xavier Woods was obviously still a little deterred about this. Eventually, American Made walks on by and starts mocking the New Day for losing last week and for losing basically a lot as of late. This led to Xavier Woods demanding a match between the Creed brothers, and we would get that later on in the show. Then we get a backstage segment involving Sheamus. He was being interviewed, I think by Kathy Kelly, before Pete Dunne all of a sudden just attacks him from behind, like he's done a couple of times already. So I don't know if this feud's still going on or whatnot, but it looks like it is, just from this one backstage little moment. The first official match, though, on the show is Carlito versus Dragon Lee. This match only went about 3 minutes, and it wasn't a squash match, but it was a very short match that didn't really need to be on the show. Dragon Lee does get the win, but it doesn't mean much of anything when Dragon Lee's when the rest of the LWO isn't really presented as anything but jobbers to the Judgment Day and to... I mean, some might say that the Judgment Day right now are basically Raw's answer to the Bloodline right now. A faction that most of the time wins their matches, and the rest of the guys that they beat are usually jobbers like the LWO, or their matches are short and they squash basically almost everybody. But at least I like the Judgment Day. Not really a fan of the Bloodline. Well. Hello, Mox. You're in timeout and you're hidden, so go fuck yourself. Next, we get Miz Backstage, he is getting ready for a second match with Bronson Reed. Then all of a sudden, Karrion Kross comes out of nowhere and they strike up a small conversation with Karrion Kross, reminding Miz of who he is and what he's done over the years, his career, and how a lot of people have not appreciated him, and how a lot of people don't like him, and how he really shouldn't be pandering to the crowd, or where he really shouldn't, saying that he really shouldn't be doing this for the crowd. He should be doing everything he's doing, he should be doing it for himself and only himself, and that he shouldn't have to rely on friends. I don't know what Kross's angle is here with Miz, but I'm interested to see where it's leading. But then we go to Miz versus Bronson Reed. This was supposed to be a match, but unfortunately the match didn't take place, because before the bell even rang, we get Braun Strowman, who had a run-in with Bronson Reed to begin the show, as Liv and Dom were coming into the arena. Like I said earlier, they went through a table that was set up in the loading dock area. I believe it was even a merchandise table. I don't know why, but I don't know. But they continued their brawl from earlier on at the very beginning of the show, at the start of the show. Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman were just throwing each other around with haymakers and bombs, just fists and bombs. Security was trying to get involved, trying to pull them apart, but security was not going to pull these two apart. They were shoving the referees down and everything. Yeah, WWE needs to hire either better security guards or train the security guards, the security they already have, so that when they are asked, so that the next time they're asked to do this sort of thing, they'll actually act like real security. Because most of the time, when this type of situation happens with two men just trying to destroy each other, the security is more than oftentimes used as just punching bags, just to try to calm down the situation, yet they're almost always thrown around like rag dolls and made to look like useless pieces of crap. But that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is in WWE. Security is never made to look any useful. The security is just never made to look useful. Like, why have the security out there if all their job is to get thrown around like rag dolls? But one moment in this brawl that caught my eye was that they teased a ring implosion spot, which has been done 3 times already in WWE. The first time being in 2003. Brock Lesnar and The Big Show was the first time WWE had ever done a spot like this, where the ring just implodes on contact. And I get it. It was 2 of WWE's bigger guys at the time, Big Show and Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, I think, was like 285, maybe, somewhere between 270 or like 280 or something. And then The Big Show obviously was like at his heaviest at that time, like around 500 pounds, even though he has slimmed down pretty significantly since then. In 2011, we got Big Show and Mark Henry this time in a ring implosion segment, which I'm also certain received the Slammy Award that year for OMG Moment of the Year, which was obviously, if that doesn't receive an OMG Moment of the Year Slammy Award, then I don't know what is. what does. And then in 2018, we get yet another ring implosion spot. This time, Big Show and Braun Strowman break the ring. And so I have a feeling that's what we're getting in this, because after this brawl ended, we had a backstage segment with Adam Pearce, who announced that next week, this upcoming Monday Night Raw, which is the go-home show for Bad Blood, we will have not just any last man standing match, but a last monster standing match. And I'm guessing the tease of the superplex into a ring implosion was a sign that they are actually thinking about doing this, which I think is going to be great. And I like that they've spaced out these moments. Like, the first time they did it was 2003, next time they did it was 8 years later, and then 7 years later they did the spot with Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar, and now it'll be 6 years since they did since their last ring implosion spot. So the ring's getting broken in that last monster standing match. If that match does not end the show, then I don't know what they're doing. Because if they start the show off with this match, what's going to happen with the rest of the show? This is going to have to main event the show, because they're not going to be able to just fix the ring by next segment. But I am very much excited for this match. Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. That's monster standing. It should be chaotic. Just the fact that we're going to get to see whether any one of these two men can stay down for the count of 10, that's going to be quite the test. Then we go and we get Damage Control. They are backstage. They are about to go out for a match against Unholy Union. It wasn't a number one contenders match or of such, nothing like that, but it was just a tag team match. But before they went out, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, they walked up to Damage Control. Kairi Sane and Io Sky, Bianca Belair told Io, last week we had one of the best women's matches in a long time. Io basically said that the next time that they share a ring together, it won't just be in a singles match, it'll be in a tag team match for the tag team titles. They go out, they have a match against the Unholy Union. This match lasted about 10 minutes and was a very good and was a pretty decent tag team match. Wasn't anything too special, but it was okay. For what it was. Damage Control wins, and I'm guessing this is leading to a match for the women's tag team titles. When that match happens, I do not know. It'll most likely be on Raw, but that's okay. Braun Breaker, backstage, he had a message to his challenger for the Intercontinental title, which would be defended in the main event of the show, Jey Uso. He had a message for Jey Uso. He basically said all the things that you normally would hear from a heel champion, like, I'm not losing this title anytime soon. This title is going to remain around my waist for a long time. Yeah, that didn't exactly work out very well. Then we have the tag team match between New Day and American Made. This match was a very good match. It lasted about 13 minutes, around 13 minutes or so. And New Day at one point were getting the advantage, but after after Kofi Kingston hit a Trouble in Paradise on Julius Creed, Xavier Woods went up top to, I guess, do his elbow drop. Chad Gable gets on the apron to distract Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods pulls Chad Gable in and eventually starts stomping a mud hole into him in the corner, in one of the corners. This then allows Julius Creed to get his wits back about him, which allows Julius Creed to, I guess, to breathe a little. And after that Trouble in Paradise, he then does a knee strike, a rising knee strike, and then they hit the Brutus ball on Kofi. That gets American Made the win. Xavier Woods was obviously not happy about this. After this, we got a video package for Damian Priest. He will be facing off against Finn Balor at Bad Blood. As far as who I think is going to win that match, I do not know. I am thinking maybe Damian Priest wins. I don't know. This one isn't quite as predictable because even though I don't know if, even though this match isn't quite as predictable, because I know that the Judgment Day could get involved in this match, they could still have Damian Priest win. Although I don't know for sure, so it's up in the air. And Moxley, go to hell. But yeah, that's what it is. It is what it is. We got Sami Zayn versus Ludwig Kaiser. This was another great match. They had some really good matches on tonight's show. On Monday Night Raw, the women's tag team match, New Day versus American Made, it was a good tag team match. This match between Sami Zayn and Ludwig Kaiser was pretty good. This match went about 14 minutes. It was very good. Sami Zayn obviously got the win, which didn't sit well with Gunther. And just as it looked like Gunther was gonna finally cave in and give Sami his title shot that he wants so badly, Gunther was like, no. For the third straight time in a row, no means no. He's not giving him a title shot. But I'm guessing it's going to happen. They've been building this up, and it wouldn't make sense if they didn't give us that match. So I'm guessing this upcoming Monday Night Raw is when we're going to get that match made official. We got backstage, we got Xavier Woods and Rey Mysterio. We got another backstage segment involving Rey Mysterio and Xavier Woods, who was still apparently ticked off about what happened last week with the OWO getting involved in their tag team match for the tag team titles, which they lost. Rey Mysterio told Xavier that I was technically going to face Finn Balor next week on next week's Monday Night Raw. But if you want, I'll face you instead. So I'm guessing Rey Mysterio was initially going to face Finn Balor on this upcoming Monday Night Raws on the Golem show for Monday Night Raw. But I'm guess he had a change of mind. He's like, oh, okay. So if you want a match against me, then you got it. So that's what we'll get. We'll get that match next week. Xavier Woods versus Rey Mysterio. That should be a good match, though. It should be a good match, though. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We got a Wyatt 6 video package. I don't know who the Wyatt 6 are going after now that their feud with the American Made is done and over with, but who knows. It is what it is. It was a great video package. Obviously, all of their video packages and promos have been nothing but, and video promos have been nothing but great. And their presentation so far has been pretty impressive, so I'm impressed. And I don't know where they're going now, but I'm interested. We also got a small vignette. I don't know what this means, but a lot of people have been making a case that it's signaling the return of the Viking Raiders, but they might not be called the Viking Raiders going forward. They might be going by their NXT name, which was War Raiders, which I don't know if they actually will get their NXT name back. But I think it's only appropriate because Vince McMahon is no longer in charge of creative, and we know how much he hated the War Raiders name, and he wanted to even change their name one more to Viking Experience, which is honestly worse than Viking Raiders, but still way worse than War Raiders. So I'm interested in seeing what the Viking Raiders, or I'm guessing the War Raiders, have in store coming back to Monday Night Raw. This could also signal the return of Valhalla, because she hasn't been seen in WWE ever since Ivar got injured. Because even when Eric was injured, she was still coming out to the ring with Ivar whenever he had matches. We got Drew McIntyre. He cut a promo on the show. Basically what he was saying was basically rebuttal of what CM Punk said the week prior, and it was great. Everything he said was basically perfect and what needed to be said going into their Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood. And as far as who wins that match, I do not know. Whether they give the win to CM Punk, I don't know. I see Drew winning. I see Drew McIntyre winning because it just makes sense for Drew McIntyre to just beat out CM Punk and just be like, but I don't know. They could go with CM Punk winning. They could go Drew McIntyre winning. I do not know. Main event time. It is the Intercontinental Championship match. Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso. I actually didn't realize the match was this week and not on the Go Home show. Hey, Everbless. Thank you for coming. I don't know what the problem is. It keeps saying that I have people here, but I just have not gotten anybody typing in the live chat so far. Well, so far, the only people that have been typing in the live chat are the trolls, and they're gone. They're out of here. They're not welcome. But thanks, Everbless. Thank you for showing up. I do appreciate it. I know not everybody can come to my live streams, but I'm just wondering why it's taking this long for someone to come into my live stream that's actually not a troll. Because usually it's not that long. I mean, it's okay, Everbless. I was not really expecting you to show up anyways. I was expecting some of my other people that usually do come onto my live streams to be on by now. But hey, it is what it is. Thank you for showing up. Thanks for the like. If you guys want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. It is never required, but I would appreciate it, just so you know. Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso. This match went about 15 minutes. It was about the longest match of the night. And now I'm doing a pretty good job of it right now, and I don't want to mod too many people, because you just never know. Yeah, I know. You always got my back. But still, I would like it if I was just... I don't want to mod too many people, because at one point, 2 times, I had that problem where I modded more people than I really needed to. One of them turned out to be a troll and was timing out people in the live chat, so I had to get rid of a lot of mods, get rid of a lot of mod positions. And so I'm trying to make sure that I don't mod the wrong people. Also, I just want to keep my mod, because the number of mods down. Hey, Aaron, thanks for showing up. I'm so glad I'm finally getting people typing in the live chat. It's been 30 minutes basically, and 30 minutes in, I still didn't have not one person typing in the live chat, except trolls, which I got rid of, and thanks. Aw, yes, I am the GOAT at streaming. Maybe even better than Matt Choice. No, Matt Choice is definitely better than me. But Jey Uso is your new Intercontinental Champion. I am so excited for him. Whether I do not expect him to keep the title very long, I do expect him to take the title, and I do think Braun Breaker is going to win it back. I do expect him to. Now, there are some people that are. There are rumors now that WWE is trying to turn Braun Breaker babyface. I don't know. I think he's staying a heel because I think he's just great at it. He's great at being this cocky, overconfident heel who just believes in him, who just believes so much that he's going to win that he just almost always feels like it's inevitable that WWE should just hand him the win. But that's the beauty of it. A bit. Braun Breaker, when he loses, he just gets mad and just destroys everything. Yeah, that's EverBless. He's been on my live stream recently and using that account, so I know it's him. Well, Monday Night Raw was a very, very good show. Moxley, this is the third time you've shown up on my live stream, and this is the third time you are going to... I'm just gonna time you out anyways, because I don't know who you are. Yeah, I don't really like that name. Even if he's not a troll, I would just rather be safe than sorry. I'm not gonna hide him, but I'm just timing him out. And hopefully by the time I end this live stream, we won't have to worry about him anymore. If I had to rate Monday Night Raw this week, I would rate it a 7.5 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10. A pretty decent, really good show. Not perfect, but not bad either. Not bad at all. Okay, yeah, 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, I know. But hey, I appreciate the views. Aaron, if you have the ability to share my live stream on your channel, feel free to do so. Just like with the likes, not required. But if there's anybody out there who has a channel and they're able to use their community tab, if they want to share out my live stream, they are welcome to do so. They are free to do so if they want to. Now on to NXT on Tuesday. This is the last NXT on USA Network before the move to CW, which will be this week, which will be upcoming. This upcoming Tuesday will be first ever NXT on the CW, and I will be at home watching the premiere of CW on NXT on CW. I have no idea, EverBless, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah. Subscribing to me is free. You don't have to subscribe to me, but hey, if you want to, feel free to do so. Tonight, this night of NXT was highlighted by a press conference where several superstars would talk to, I guess, reporters and stuff, and most of what they had to talk about were events that were going to be happening on the NXT premiere. We had the opening though was Kalani Jordan versus Ren St. Clair. This was a match for the women's North American title. This match was made official last week after a backstage interaction with Kalani Jordan and Ren St. Clair. This match went about 9 minutes. Kalani Jordan wins the match and retains the North American title, the women's North American title. Yeah, we don't need Mox here. And Mox, just so you know, I know it's you because I've seen what these troll accounts have to say, and many of the words they're using are words that I've seen you use multiple times on either on your channel or on Matt's channel. So you can't fool me for 1 second. You can tell me all you want that it's just some random channel, but I know it's you. Whether you like to admit it or not, you are obsessed with me, and it's creepy, and I pity you. So let's get on with the show. This match, in about 9 minutes, Kalani Jordan wins, retains her title. Then we get the Grayson Waller effect for the first time on NXT. Since the build up to Stand and Deliver 2023, which was held in Los Angeles, California. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory came back down to NXT for a shot at the NXT Tag Team titles, which they will face the champions of Axiom and Nathan Frazier, not this week on the season premiere of NXT on CW, but the following Tuesday, which will be the St. Louis episode of NXT on the CW. This segment basically went just how you would expect a Grayson Waller effect segment to go, and it ended with Grayson Waller and Austin Theory attacking the champions Axiom and Nathan Frazier. After this, we get a backstage segment with Javon Evans with Ajon Down Under. They ran into Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander. These two called out Cedric and Javon. They called out Grayson and Austin for their attack on Axiom and Nathan Frazier. This then leads to a match later on in the night between the two. Then we get a first look at the press conference that dominated most of this episode of NXT. The first superstar to speak was Trick Williams. He was talking about his match next week, this week for the NXT title against Ethan Page, with CM Punk as the special guest referee. I am excited. I do believe we are getting a title change with Trick Williams obviously winning the title back. I was quite surprised when they cut his title reign short and gave it to Ethan Page, but Ethan Page so far has been a pretty darn good champion. He's been basically your typical heel champion, but it's good. But he's a good heel champion, even though it's basically what your typical heel does. Tries to get out of matches, matches, tries to not defend his title tries to do as little as possible while still being the champion. Yeah, you're the NXT champion. You're going to be on the show a lot, whether you like it or not. And you're going to be in certain matches that you maybe don't want to be a part of, whether you like it or not. But yeah, we also got Ethan Page. He also talked with the reporters again about his match with Trick Williams at NXT's premiere, the NXT premiere on CW. So, hey, I'm excited for that match. I do believe Trick Williams is winning. That's what I think is going to happen. Next up, we got a tag team match. Hank Walker and Tank Ledger taking on the OC of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. This match was about 5 minutes, but it was okay, and I did not think Hank Walker and Tank Ledger were going to win this match, but they did. So that was interesting just for the surprise factor, because I didn't think they were going to win. But it is what it is. They won. Good for them. We also got a backstage segment with Trick Williams. Then we get a backstage segment with Trick Williams and CM Punk. Trick Williams trusts that CM Punk will do a fair job as a referee and will call the match down the line. Later on, we got another backstage segment involving CM Punk and the champion, NXT champion Ethan Page. Ethan Page was not happy about this decision and does not believe that CM Punk will be a fair referee. And he hopes that CM Punk is going to be a fair referee in this match. I'm hoping he is. He should be. He shouldn't be any less fair than Trick Williams was during the Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry match. We got also in this press conference, the second person to talk in this press conference that they had set up was Oba Femi. Now, apparently, I think it was as of last week, The Miz, Mike the Miz Mizanin, made an announcement that Miz TV will be coming to NXT for only the second time that Miz TV will be on NXT, and it will feature Oba Femi, the North American champion, and the guy who wants to challenge him for the title, but as of last week, he made it officially known that he's afraid of losing to Oba Femi. And that is the leader of the family, Tony D'Angelo. So that should be a good Miz TV segment. We got a video package, a segment where Tony D'Angelo was training alongside members of the family for his eventual, I'm guessing they're going to have an eventual match against Oba Femi and Tony D'Angelo, and whether he wins or not, and whether Tony actually wins or not is up for debate, because I don't know if he's going to win. I don't know how that match will go down, because we already saw that match at No Mercy, and Oba won. So we'll see. We got Wendy Chu, and I'm guessing her new best friend, Rosemary, TNA wrestler Knockout Rosemary. They took on Brynlee Reese and Carmen Petrovich. This match lasted about 4 minutes, and the heels won the match. It is what it is. It was okay. It was an okay tag team match. Was it needed on the show? Maybe not, but hey, it is what it is. We also got a backstage segment with Jada Parker and Lola Vice. they were both called into Ava Rain's office by Ava herself. Ava basically made it clear that as of recently, it seems like both of them have issues with the new women's faction in NXT, that being Fatal Influence, which involves Jasmine Nix, JC Jane, and Fallon Henley. And Ava has figured that the only way to settle this is to have the both of them tag team against Fatal Influence on the debut of NXT on the CW. Both Jada and Lola did not seem very happy about the decision, but Ava said the decision is final. You two are going to have to become a cohesive tag team in a short amount of time, in a week's time. Yeah, good luck with that. The old can they coexist treatment. I mean, they're both at this point, they're both baby faces, so it's not like it's a heel and a baby face joining up together. It's just that they don't want each other's help. And so it's like, okay, how is this going to go down? I don't know. We also got a backstage segment, like I said, Ethan Page. Then we get, after the Ethan Page CM Punk segment, we get A-Town Down Under versus Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander. This went 10 minutes, about 10 minutes. A-Town Down Under actually win the match. Surprising. I didn't know if they were going to get the win here. But since they've really been high on Javon Evans this year, I've seen him wrestle a lot, and he's been wrestling some pretty good matches. And he's been pushed pretty good, so I didn't know if they were going to let him win this match with Cedric Alexander, but they let A-Town Down Under get the win. Obviously, they're losing their match to Axiom and Nathan Frazier, so I guess this was their way of building up the heels before they inevitably lose, basically. We also got Oro Mensah versus Lexis King. This feud has been going on for a few weeks now. This went about 4 minutes, is what it is, but it didn't matter much. Lexis King got the win. It is what it is. We also got Ridge Holland versus Riley Osborne. This was a match basically made out of the fact that Ridge Holland has been basically destroying most of Chase U. He's already taken out Duke Hudson and Andre Chase, and the last person to take out was Riley Osborne. This match went about 3 minutes, 30 seconds, but I don't think Riley Osborne in this match got destroyed like the other two did. I don't even think this match even finished. I can't remember, but it was a good 3 minutes and 30 seconds. The main event, though, was Julia and Roxanne Perez. They had a promo exchange in the lead up to their match, which will take place next week on the debut of NXT on the CW. This was a good little back and forth. Again, like I saw, I think a week or two ago, they had Funaki out there being the translator for Julia. So for those of you who are fans of Funaki or who know Funaki from his time in the Attitude Era, in the Ruthless Aggression Era on SmackDown, both as a backstage interviewer once in a while and as a wrestler in WWE, especially in the cruiserweight division, because that's what he was. He was basically a cruiserweight. So it's been interesting to see him back on television. And it makes perfect sense. He is Japanese, speaks some English, but not enough to really make her an expert on the English language. So it's nice that she has an interpreter with her, translator with her, and to have it be Funaki, a former WWE superstar, makes it just better. Although at the end of this segment, we got a message. We had Stephanie Becker, who has also been signed to WWE as of late, she made her unofficial debut, sending a message to both Roxanne Perez and Julia, basically saying, what are you going to do when you've got me waiting on the other side of your match? So basically what Stephanie Baker said in this, basically what Stephanie Baker meant in this little video message was that whoever wins between you and Julia, between Julia and Roxanne Perez, I've got next. So basically, she's going to be facing the winner of this match. Again, I do think Julia wins. If they don't give her the win right away, then okay, I'm not going to be surprised, totally surprised. But hey, it should be a good match though. That was NXT Tuesday. If I had to rate it this week's, I would rate it a 7 out of 10. Was good, not great, but not bad either. It is what it is. Now, AEW Dynamite. This week's AEW Dynamite was somewhat special because it was AEW Grand Slam. It was Grand Slam, AEW Grand Slam. The opening was a match that was teased, but not official because this match had an asterisk to it. It was Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness. The stipulation was the match was going to take place if Bryan Danielson was cleared to wrestle, and apparently he is because the match did take place. It went about 14 minutes. It was a good match for what it was, but that's all that it was just a good match. Was no build up. There was no build up, no face-to-face promo segment back and forth. It was all Nigel McGuinness just winning, and I know a lot of people were like, oh, Nigel McGuinness, this match has basically been a year in the making because of all the comments that Nigel has said about Bryan Danielson on commentary. Yeah, that's not exactly building towards a match. That's just a heel commentator doing his job to belittle the babyface in Bryan Danielson because he doesn't like Bryan Danielson. That's all that it is. That wasn't leading up to a match because at that time we didn't even know Nigel McGuinness was ever going to come back to wrestling. Yes, it was obviously heavily rumored that, and by fans who thought that they would want to see this match at some point, because it would make a lot of sense for them to eventually have this match. We got it. It was a good match. Move on. We got Saraya was backstage. She had a message for Jamie Hayter, who she will face tonight on Collision in a Saraya Rules match, on AW Grand Slam Collision in a Saraya Rules match. It is what it is. Should be an okay match. I might not watch it, but who knows. We got Roderick Strong versus Hook. This match was for the FTW title, which is not an official title in AEW, but this match went about 8 minutes. It was pretty good for what it was. Obviously, Hook won the match. But then after the match was where things got surprising, because I was very surprised that they did this. Hook praised everybody who had held the FTW title and praised the fans for acknowledging the title, even though AEW never did. But Hook decided that it was time to retire the FTW title. He embraced his dad. It was a nice feel-good moment, and I thought, okay, as much as I'm a little shocked that they did this, on the other hand, I'm like, oh, this has been a long time coming, because I don't know what Taz's motivations were for bringing the FTW title to AEW. I don't know what his motivations were, whether it was just out of pride of like not wanting to retire that title or anything. I don't know. I was under the impression that Taz would never allow that title to be retired just out of pride. I don't know why I had that feeling that they were just never gonna retire the title. Oh, whether or not Taz would ever allow the title to be retired. But I'm guessing he's okay with it now. He's okay with it happening. It is what it is. Long overdue, because it's a title that is not needed on AEW television, and it is not even recognized as a legit title. It never was, and it was never going to be recognized as a legit title. It served its purpose. Now let's move on to something. Now let's move on. What this does for Hook going forward, I don't know. This title was basically all that was making him relevant at this point. So what happens now? We'll have to wait and see what happens to Hook now. After this, we got Prince Nana. Prince Nana made his way out to the crowd to give a update on Swerve Strickland's health following his steel cage match with Hangman Adam Page at All Out. Now, Prince Nana basically said that Swerve is not clear to compete right now, but that he is training very hard to get back into shape and to get back to AEW as soon as he possibly can. But before he could say anything else, somebody decided that it was time for them to make their AEW debut, and it was MVP, who was released by WWE earlier this year. MVP officially made his AEW debut here. They went back and forth. The last sort of line or so that MVP said to Prince Nana was what really caught my attention. He handed Prince Nana a business card and said, "Give this to Swerve Strickland whenever Swerve is ready to do business, I'll be ready to talk." Now that is very significant, because when he said the word business, when Swerve was ready to do business, like he waited for a second before saying business and then emphasized the word basically when he said the word, it was basically emphasized. So obviously there's a significance to that word business. And I'm sure it means the Hurt Business, or at least some form of the Hurt Business, because I know that recently MVP had Hurt Syndicate trademarked, had the name Hurt Syndicate trademarked. So that may be what we're getting in AEW. I think it's pretty much a guarantee now that MVP is coming to AEW, is AEW bound, and that Bobby Lashley is following. Also, whether that includes Shelton Benjamin as well, more than likely, because he was also originally a part of the original Hurt Business. Whether this means that Swerve Strickland is joining the Hurt Business, I don't know. They could just be feuding. They could just feud with Swerve Strickland. He could just feud with the Hurt Business. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. We have United Empire, or at least basically some form of Aussie Open with Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. They took on the Young Bucks for the AEW tag team titles. This was one of the best AEW tag team matches of the entire year so far, in my estimation, from what I saw. And this was one of the Young Bucks' best matches, I think, in a long time. I feel like recently the Young Bucks have just been phoning it in and just not caring. But then again, they're heels, they're the EVPs. They like to do like, I guess, like certain, I can't remember who I said earlier, but they like to do the least amount of work possible while still being champions. They have barely defended their titles, and they're barely used in anything more than just backstage segments and stuff. But this was a nice little title defense, and it went about 15 minutes. It was the best match of the night, so to me. Up until that point, by the way. United Empire lost the match. Don Callis family, they lost the match. I'm sure this will lead to a heel turn. Well, obviously, Don Callis is heel, but he's going to turn his back on Will Ospreay. And I'm sure the reason why is because Will Ospreay wanted out of the Don Callis family earlier this year. Don, yes, he may have seemed okay with it at first, but I'm sure on the inside he was seething and was very much pissed about that. So I'm guessing so what this is gonna lead to is maybe a heel turn from Kyle Fletcher on Will. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what that does, where they go. We got Mariah May and Yuka Sakazaki in a eliminator match for the title. If Sakazaki can beat Mariah May, she gets a future title shot. Mariah May won the match, went about 7 minutes, wasn't needed really at all. We got Darby Allin in the main event, Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley, with Darby Allin's AEW title shot on the line, which he won a couple of months ago in a Royal Rampage Battle Royal. Darby Allin, I knew Jon Moxley was winning this match. There was no way. So Jon Moxley does win the match. We're getting the match at at Wrestle Dream because after the match, Bryan Danielson comes out to attack Jon Moxley for what he did to him, for what Moxley did to him at All Out. Tried choking him out with a necktie, and that's how this show ended with Jon Moxley, with Bryan Danielson basically telling Jon Moxley, "You want me, you got me," at Wrestle Dream for the title. That was AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. If I had to rate it, I would rate it a 6.5 out of 10. Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness was good, but it wasn't necessarily great because the match build was like non-existent. Roderick Strong's hook was okay, but not really needed. The Prince Nana MVP segment was actually very good. United Empire versus Young Bucks was great, as I knew it was probably gonna be, unless the Young Bucks decided to phone it in again with their in-ring work, which they didn't. So that's great. I'm glad they didn't. Mariah May versus Yuka Sakazaki was a bit of a cluster biff or whatever. They had some botches in that match, so wasn't anything special. And then Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley was good, was really good. Maybe not great, but it was good, really good. So 6.5 out of 10. Could have been a lot better, but at least it wasn't terrible. And now on to Friday Night SmackDown. We start off with Randy Orton kicked off the show. He had some words for Cody Rhodes because he is apparently not quite as on board with Cody Rhodes teaming up with Roman Reigns as a lot of people probably are. And I'm sure not hardly anybody's happy about that. But hey, Cody Rhodes came out. He gave his reasons for wanting to tag team with Roman Reigns, basically saying that this new bloodline has become a thorn in his side that he can't seem to get out. It's like It's like walking in the woods and you accidentally get a thorn stuck inside you after passing by a rose bush or something, and you really and you're trying to get that thorn out of your side and you just can't. That basically that's what the bloodline has been to Cody Rhodes right now. Now he can't seem to get the bloodline away from him. Obviously, the bloodline they don't want to stop coming after Cody. And I know a lot of fans have been like, why can't Cody just stay out of bloodline business? Well, if the bloodline were to stop getting involved in his business, then Cody Rhodes wouldn't have to get involved with bloodline stuff. Okay? This is all on Solo Sikoa. This is all Solo Sikoa's fault. If Solo Sikoa wasn't so obsessed with becoming the Undisputed Champion, wasn't so obsessed with taking out Cody Rhodes, then we wouldn't have to worry about Cody Rhodes getting involved with the bloodline post-WrestleMania. But it was always going to happen whether we liked it or not. Okay? Eventually, so I didn't think it was gonna... I knew after WrestleMania that the bloodline were not just gonna sit by and let Cody Rhodes be champion. Eventually, I had to figure that eventually the bloodline was going to come back for Cody, and it happened. Their first match at SummerSlam wasn't great. It was good, but it wasn't like great. The second match, in the Steel Cage match on the season premiere of SmackDown on USA Network, was much better. Was a much better match, and it is what it is. We got Bayley versus Naomi. This is a number 1 contenders match. This was made about because last week we had a tag team match. Bayley and Naomi versus Tiffany and Nia. Whoever got the pin on Nia Jax would get a women's title shot at Bad Blood. The end of the match saw both Naomi and Bayley pinning Nia, which then led to Nick Aldis later on in the show making this match official. This match went about 9 minutes, and it was great because both of them are so talented, and it was a great match. Bayley wins. Bayley gets her title shot. Before this, though, we actually saw another backstage segment with Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. Nia Jax was obviously mad as hell about what happened last week. She started to bully Tiffany Stratton, and as Nia Jax was walking away, we saw Tiffany Stratton's facial expressions, and she definitely looked like she was about to blow a gasket. It's happening, y'all. It's happening. Tiffany Stratton will cash in her women's Money in the Bank briefcase, and it will be on Nia Jax. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, and I don't really care what anybody else says about, oh, Nia should be the champion forever and ever and ever and should have a run just like Roman Reigns. Yeah, those are the Bloodline fans, and their opinion means nothing. So it's happening, whether we like it or not, whether the Bloodline fans like it or not, who coincidentally just happen to be fans of Nia Jax simply because she's a member of the Bloodline. But it's happening. Then, after this, we get Tiffany Stratton. Naomi was backstage. She talked it out with Bayley. They're still cool and all. Tiffany Stratton, though, then comes out of nowhere, starts talking down to Naomi. Naomi says, if you want to talk smack, why don't we have a match this week? Match next week. So I'm guessing we're getting Tiffany Stratton and Naomi next week. Whether Naomi actually wins that match, it's up for debate. I don't know. But it should be a good match. They're both talented. We got a promo for next week's WWE Tag Team Title Ladder Match. It will be a triple threat match between the Bloodlines, Tama Tonga Loa versus DIY versus the Street Profits. As far as who wins that match, I'm going with DIY. When they first initially put the titles on Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, I was like, they're not losing those titles ever, because Jacob Fatu is being pushed to the moon. Then, when they made the decision to use basically the Freebird rule, which they did use that was what they did there. What they did a couple weeks ago was they used the Freebird rule and used that rule to put the title on Tonga Loa, which now makes it, I think, more of a reality for the Bloodline to actually lose the tag team titles, because now they are actually, because now with Jacob Fatu not holding the title, it's more of a likelihood that they can lose the titles, even with the Bloodline interference. But this match should be good. We got Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. Part 6. This is match number 6. In match 5, we thought was going to be the final match of the show, of the series. After last week's match with Carmelo Hayes, with Andrade and LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes decided to make a little fun at Andrade's expense, but Andrade was not seeing that, was not having that. So this feud continues. This was by far the best match of their series so far. It was great. It was amazing. Went about 11 minutes 30 seconds, which is I think the longest any one of their matches has gone in this series, and that was great. Carmelo Hayes, though, gets the win after a distraction from LA Knight. Costs Andrade the win, and Andrade was not happy about that. After that, we get this heated backstage moment with Andrade and LA Knight, but neither one is happy about what happened. So it is what it is. We got a video package signaling the return of AJ Styles. I am very much excited for this. I was not expecting this at all. And the fact that we're getting an AJ Styles return is great, because we need AJ Styles. Because AJ Styles definitely deserves to be back. What he's doing, I don't know. But hey, we'll see what it is. We got Michin versus Piper Niven. This match lasted about 4 minutes. And it was an okay, decent women's match. And Michin got the win. Next week, she will be in a dumpster match against the first ever women's dumpster match. I know for a fact we've had dumpster matches before in WWE, that being during the Attitude Era, and one of them was a tag team title dumpster match, I think at WrestleMania 14 or 15, I can't remember. But this match went about 4 minutes. Michin will face off against Chelsea Green in a dumpster match. Should be decent, should be okay. We'll see what it is about. The main event, though, was Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. This match lasted about 15 minutes. The Bloodline win this match after a interference by Cody Rhodes in support of his teammates. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens backfired after he accidentally took out the referee. It was an accident, but this could give Kevin Owens and or Randy Orton reason enough to turn heel, even more of a reason to turn heel, because they've been teasing that for a while now. And so, it is what it is. Friday Night SmackDown wasn't terrible. It was pretty good show. It was a pretty good show. So, that it is what it is. So, I'm just going to say Friday Night SmackDown, if I had to rate it, 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. Was it perfect? No, but it was still good. So it is what it is. But that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I did. I will see you guys next week. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.